Welcome back to the channel. 2025 is going to be tough for a major international carrier. Next on the list is the approval of an airline merger that has been long awaited, and Qantas's profits have dropped. Why not begin there? With the publishing of their most recent financial results after another turbulent year, there are certainly some fascinating things to take a look at. Revenues were among the business's most positive areas, increasing just over 10% to 21.9 billion. Airlines right around the world, for that matter, however, have been reporting significant increases in their overall revenues, despite maybe other aspects of the business not performing to that same record-breaking extent. Lastly, despite revenue increases, the underlying profit dropped by some 16% to a little over 2 billion. While still a large sum, it was due to the dropping domestic and international earnings that we saw that reduction of 16%. For example, overall earnings before interest and tax at the domestic division dropped 16%, whereas the international division saw a 39% drop. While not uncommon and certainly nothing to be alarmed about, executives at the company say this came down to fares normalizing and the continued adjustment of capacity. Moreover, Qantas says it's spent more on initiatives to streamline the flying, which should then trickle down to benefiting customers. Such a performance really shouldn't come as a shock. In fact, the guidance for this earnings season, if you will, at Qantas was pretty much bang on for what eventually they did report, with no, say, major startling adjustments. Across the financial year, Qantas increased on-time performance at its mainline brand by some 10 percentage points and 8.8% at Jetstar, the group's low-cost division. These operational performance improvements stem from the investments that I mentioned, which involved overhauling things such as the frequent flyer program, the seat product, digital platforms, and onboard amenities. Qantas Group states that its focus over the past year has really been on repairing a fractured relationship with its customers that we know hurt so bad that it trickled down onto the brand's image. As a result, the consensus is that Qantas is at this point in its operational capacity willing to take these drops in, say, profit to make the right investments for the long term, to ensure that they can return to being, yes, of course, still a national airline, but one that actually people take great pride in either seeing, flying, or talking about. And off the back of the appointment of Vanessa Hudson, this has certainly been the direction that has been laid out. The domestic front was an important avenue, as Qantas says it raced to provide more than 45,000 customers with free of charge flights following the collapse of Bonza and Rex's capital city flights using the 737 fleet. Domestic revenue is expected to increase in the first half of the financial year, this being the next one, whereas international revenue will fall as they restore their market capacity by the end of the 2025 financial year. Qantas expects the decline to slow, with then some very much visible recovery. Airline mergers and just generally consolidation within our industry is something that's been massively talked about of late, and the ongoing consolidation efforts initiated by the Tata Group for Air India and Vistara are about to take a monumental step in the right direction following approval being granted from the Indian government. The approval comes in the form of a planned merger between the two airlines, which would see Air India take on the role of Vistara, and the latter's brand essentially collapse. The latter as well confirming that its planes will be operated by Air India come as early as November, the date being November 12, which is widely now being reported and confirmed and aligns with key executives' expectations for when the tie-up was planned to conclude. Singapore Airlines, a 49% owner of Vistara, which is supported thanks to a joint venture, confirmed that approval had been received for the expansion of the Air India brand even more so. Approval was arguably always going to be one of the biggest hurdles, with much deliberation required for such consolidation efforts. That is a part of a broader mission, remember, to restore Air India as a truly esteemed and respected company. The tie-up has been in the making for some 2 years, and the intentions at the beginning were abundantly clear to ensure that there was a dominant, full-service airline across both domestic and international fronts, and consolidation is best viewed as the way to move forward with this. Starting from September 3, which has probably now already occurred from when this video is going live, Vistara has confirmed bookings after November 12 will no longer be possible on their planes, and from this point forward, all Vistara aircraft will be operated by Air India, so also you can consider that future bookings will be redirected to the flag carrier's site. Looking ahead, Air India from this will have greater assets, with the integration of Vistara to enable it to serve more markets and offer customers, therefore, greater connectivity. While the biggest hurdle has been completed, the formal integration will undoubtedly pose its complexities. However, all executive teams involved are said to be doing everything in their power to ensure that the ones not affected are customers, and the process is as smooth as possible. From this, Singapore Airlines will have that 25.1% stake in Air India, that being a much larger company than what they are now. On to the final story, and that sits with Air New Zealand, who after their most recent financial results have said that the next 12 months are expected to present their challenges. Deja vu. Are there not many other airlines saying very similar? I think that's the case. I think there's a lot. One of the standouts of the flag carrier's performance was the drop in annual profit, which was 61% lower year over year. Air New Zealand has cited several times, stating that it expects its results to be below what they should have been for many reasons, and now obviously with the firm proof, it certainly indicates this. Most notably, the airline has highlighted the Pratt & Whitney engine saga, which doesn't represent the first engine crisis that has impacted the company in, say, the last 10 years, the first being the Trent 1000s on the 787 fleet. And as part of this, it has left their aircraft grounded and meant an inability to, say, get routes operational when they would intend to, and also seeing their network slashed. Air New Zealand said they really have struggled to meet capacity, therefore, in 2024. Another avenue that has been long documented, and I've personally found fascinating to see evolve, is increasing levels of competition across markets that previously Air New Zealand had a pretty firm grip on. They face competition from the likes of North American airlines, with those companies looking to expand towards New Zealand, and this has impacted Air New Zealand's ability to see strong load factors and the performance maybe it once did. Inflation is something else that Air New Zealand is navigating like many others, and it's continuing to be that really annoying challenge that they just can't seem to get rid of. Looking into 2025, well, it's certainly going to be an interesting half year, as you have to consider that the first half of the most recent financial year, Air New Zealand actually was tracking not too badly. It is in the second half where everything completely collapsed and why the results have been so poor. Internally, and if we focus on the domestic network, Air New Zealand highlights that it's experienced challenges as business travellers are simply not returning with weakened demand. With that being said, I know there's a lot of negatives surrounding these results, and that's just the harsh reality of the situation the company finds themselves in, but they believe they're moving in a positive direction, and they have a robust balance sheet to navigate the headwinds. Furthermore, they're also leasing in aircraft such as Boeing 777s to do everything that they can to try and mitigate any capacity loss. That'll conclude today's aviation recap. Thank you very much for your support here on the channel. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow for your next recap.